my name is Frank. Today I will cover fly fishing and fly fishing history and basics. The rivers and inhabitants of the watery elements are made for wise men to contemplate, for fools to pass by without consideration. This was written by Isaac Walton in 1640 when he wrote the first book, The Complete Angler, for fishermen to learn how to use hooks, nets, and all these other kinds of things in England. From there, we're going to cover the history, casting styles, and equipment of fly fishing. In the history portion, we can see that we have gentlemen anglers. See how they dress? They wore top hats, breeches, all this kind of stuff. When they came to the United States many years later, for the next 200 years, this is how they fished. Almost like you were going to Sunday church. It wasn't until in the 1850s that a book was written in the United States in 1850 by Thaddeus Norton. And in that book, he propagated different styles of fishing, especially for the United States, as fishermen learned to fish differently in America than in England. In England, you had slow, ponderous rivers that fly fishermen could fish in very easily. You got to the United States, and what did you have? You had Yellowstone, you had rivers up north that were massively wide. People needed longer poles, they needed different equipment, different fly lines. So what happened was, as Thaddeus Norton wrote his book, he wrote a book, you can see the first one, by Isaac Walton, was a 2-volume book. Then it went down to the American Angler's book, and from there we have today's version of the Encyclopedia of Fishing, as well as small carry books, because people realized, unlike England, where you could use the same book to fly fish all over England, because the fish were the same. The United States was much different. Fishermen realized that they needed different books to access different areas, because fish were different. They were at different depths and different rivers. Now we'll cover equipment on the fly fishermen. As you can see on my samples on the left-hand side, we have boots. I have the English style wading boots, but on the screen you can see the American style version with vests, fly lines, fishing poles, fly lines, hats, sunglasses. It's a lot of equipment. You might spend a lot of money on fly fishing, or you might just be able to go out with a pole and a fly line and a couple flies and do a really good job. Now fly poles are different because they need different lengths. If you're coastal fly fishing for shark, you need like a 15-foot pole, whereas if you are fly fishing for trout, you might only need a 7-foot pole. Reels come in hundreds of varieties. They are pop out, some come right on the fly line, and on those fly lines, or on those fly reels, you'll see fly lines. Fly fishermen use fly lines in certain ways. Some float and some sink. Why do they float? Because as they float, they carry the dry fly, has to sit on top of the water, so that it acts as the natural element for the fish to be attracted to. There are other elements of fly fishing, just like the wet fly. These are some of the flies. Some wet flies here. We have dry flies. See how they're very bulky and hairy looking? Those are all deer hairs that help that fly to float on top of the water, to act like the real fly. You can see in the man's hand we have the natural bug and then the man-made bug. See how they're almost the same? And then of course a fly fisherman will carry dozens of bugs so he knows what to fly fish with when he's on a certain river. On my sample over here you can see some of the fly lines as well as some of the flies that I use for the areas in Virginia. Now here we have styles of casting. In styles of casting there are long casts and short casts. Long casts are made if I was flying on the coast. The fly line goes in large figure eights in the air. Imagine a big whip in the air, but you don't want to snap it, because what would happen if you snapped it? The fly would come off the end, right? It's a very delicate thing. So it's a very slow curving method. You can see this top one, it seems kind of fast, but he actually has good power because he's trying to get a long cast out, because the fly line itself has a small lead weight that runs through it that helps carry it. Unlike bass fishing with a spinner rod, which you have a big clunky bait, and you use that heavy weight to get out, the fly line itself is what carries that item out onto the river. As you see, this is called roll casting. And the roll casting is for short fly lines. This is if I'm fly fishing here in Virginia and I have streams to fly fish with. I need to get on the brush. Roll casting, I lay my fly line on the water and then I flip it. And that rolls that fly line so I can then stretch it out even under bushes and trees to get at trout, which is their normal hunting place. Fly fishing has come over from England in such a manner that there are now 3.5 million fly anglers alone, according to AFTA, the American Fly Fishing Network, and it produces a $750 million budget. That's how much people are spending on flies. Each fly that I have over there may cost up to $1.50 to $3 because they're all hand-tied. Now for short roll casting, it would be the guy in the bottom, and it's just a flick of the wrist. Everybody put your hand up. Let's do this. That's just the action you need for a short roll cast. Then we have long casting. Everybody put your arm up. Back and forth. That's the power you need to get a long cast out. Now, negative fly fishing, you don't get to stay at home and do dishes. You don't have to clean the baby. You don't have to do lawn mowing. And you don't get stuck in traffic. So the positives of fly fishing are some jovial times by the river, solitude, think about things, and some good times with friends. Now, finding your stream. According to Thomas Rosenbauer, he says that during almost every fishing trip, I learned something new. In conclusion, we see what Isaac Walton says, that angling may be said to be so like mathematics that it can never be fully learned. I've been fly fishing for 10 years, more, and I still learn something new. So this is the type of scenery you can go out and see when you're fly fishing early in the morning. And that's my speech.